This story here is for the liberals who are on the fence about the Keystone XL pipeline. It's an incredible investigative report from Emily Atkin. A man named Alain Labrecque, I'm probably butchering how you pronounce that, Labrecque. This guy and his family used to live in Alberta, Canada, on land that his grandparents settled on, or maybe even his great-grandparents settled on. And a while back, oil companies came to tap into the tar sands on his land. Something, by the way, that he had no problem with whatsoever. So he was happily collecting royalty payments from the use of his land, and he even contracted with the companies to do snow removal in the area and some other things. Well, after about 6 years, some curious things started happening. He got regular headaches that he would have to pop Advil all day for. He started to get an eye twitch that wouldn't go away. His 2-year-old daughter would fall all over the place. Now, at first, they just assumed that she was clumsy, but then his wife started to fall also. She actually fell down the stairs one time, and she mentioned, "I just lost control of my body." And she found out that if she turns her head too far to the left, that she would pass out every time from it. Now, one could say at this point, well, it's a bunch of freak, separate medical problems, but we're all humans and our bodies break down over time. Who knows? Maybe it's just a coincidence that all that was happening. Well, then it got even worse. Another family member would fall asleep to popping ears. Their ears wouldn't stop popping. She had sinus congestion, hot and cold flashes. She began to feel as if her arms were hollow. She developed, quote, massive headaches like migraines, but different. She said, "I get migraines. This is not like a migraine. This is like somebody's taking a 2x4 to your head." Then their 3-year-old son started developing dark gray circles under his eyes and struggled with constipation despite being put on laxatives. He would sometimes go a week without a bowel movement. They started developing growths that had to be removed by doctors. One of them had a growth right in the middle of their forehead that had to be removed by doctors. By winter of 2011, Elaine's uncle Mike was sweating through 3 pillows at night. His skin turned gray, and he lost 45 pounds. His wife, Leona, who lived in the city during the week for work, said that Mike would go into what she calls comatose sleeps. His voice became hoarse and his speech became slurred. He began to believe he had cancer. So now we know, okay, something's up here, man. Something's up. What's going on? Everybody's getting sick. Everybody in the house is getting sick in all these creepy, awkward, different ways. So what's the problem? Well, they found out that the waste product produced by this process that removes the sand from the tar sands oil, which was happening on their property, is causing the health issues. And back when Koch Industries used to own the site, it would take about 3 or 4 hours to load what's called the bitumen from the tanker into the truck. And then after that, a company named Prosper, bought the property and bought the processor, and it would take the same amount of time, about 3 to 4 hours, to load it into the truck. Well, now it's a company called Baytex that owns it. It's the third company that owns it. And however they do it, whether it's use of a new chemical or something else, the process is done not in 3 or 4 hours. It's done in 45 minutes. And everybody in the area is getting sick. It's not just this family. It's other families as well. So what happened? Well, the company refused to acknowledge that that there's a problem, or that they need to put in this vapor trapping system to stop the release of these chemicals, which is making these people sick. They refuse to acknowledge the problem. They're not going to put in a vapor trapping system, and the government has not regulated the sites and doesn't look like they're going to. In fact, they've been in a process of deregulating right now in Canada. So the family had to move. So doesn't more tar sands production sound like a great idea? Yay! Keystone XL all day long! Let's create a lot more of these areas that are going to get people incredibly sick. I mean, is this not insanity? Are we not, addressing reality and addressing the problems with this kind of fossil fuel processing and transportation? Now, I should also mention that this story is on top of a study from October that says, quote, A new study has found that levels of air pollution downwind of the largest tar sands, oil, and gas producing region in Canada rivals levels found in the world's most polluted cities. And that pollution isn't just dirtying the air, it also could be tied to increased incidence of blood cancers in men that live in the area. And that's on top of just the fact that a study it came out a few months ago that said air pollution is officially a carcinogen now. So it's not just blood cancers, it's probably all types of cancers. All the areas downwind of the industrial processing areas in Canada have higher rates of cancer. So is this what we want to do? Let's build another pipeline and do more of this stuff and give more people cancer and get more people sick from the freak chemical processes that aren't regulated. Now remember, this is one piece of the puzzle that's pretty pretty damning. I was going to say God-damning, but that sounds weird. On top of all the other pieces of the puzzle. So think about it. We went over the fact that the Keystone XL pipeline, people say, it's going to create thousands of jobs. Really? How many of them are permanent? There's a study that said, I think it's 20 permanent jobs are being created. Oh, wow. What great job creation that is. So it's not really going to create jobs in any serious way. Okay, you have the carbon footprint, which is insane. It's going to increase global warming and climate change a ridiculous amount, right? You have this problem with pollution, with cancer rates that will increase, the problem of lax regulation, the fact that all this money that's going to be created from this pipeline is going directly into the pockets of the Koch brothers and the oil companies, and all the oil is being shipped overseas immediately. It's not like it's going to come here and drop the price here and increase our supply and our independence. So there's no reason to do it. But we're still leaning in the national conversation towards doing it. In fact, I think even the polls are against us on this one. Even the polls, people are like, yeah, whatever, build the pipeline.